You ever walk into a place and know, deep down, everyone's judging you before you even say a word? That was me, Jasmine Williams, standing outside Sterling and Sons, the most upscale jewelry store in all of Manhattan, clutching my 3-month-old son Marcus in one arm. And with the only thing I had left from my grandmother, a simple gold ring with a green stony in my other hand. My sneakers were dirty, my sweatshirt was fraying, and every person in that place looked at me like I'd wandered in from another world, which, honestly, wasn't that far from the truth. You know what I mean? When you're broke, tired, and desperate, it's like the whole world shrinks down to just you and what you've got left to lose. I pushed open that door anyway, tried to ignore how my heart hammered in my chest, and all those rich ladies with their perfect hair and pearl earrings pretended not to stare. I walked right up to the counter where David Sterling stood, the owner, mid-30s, sharp suit, looking like he belonged in a magazine, not behind a counter. He looked at me like I was lost. Then he saw Marcus, hungry and tired, and something softened on his face. "Can I help you?" he asked, like he wasn't sure I belonged there. My hands were shaking when I held out the ring, and all I could whisper was, "I need to sell this. My son needs milk." I'd gone 2 days feeding Marcus nothing but sugar water. You have no idea how heavy shame can feel until you're standing there, hoping for $20 to get your baby formula. David took the ring, expecting costume jewelry, no doubt, but the second he glanced at it under the light, he went pale. He excused himself, muttering something about needing to appraise it, but I could feel every set of eyes in that store burning into my back as I rocked Marcus, praying he'd stop crying. 5 long minutes later, David came back, holding the ring like it was something magical. "Miss Jasmine, right?" I nodded. He asked where I got the ring, and I told him it was my grandmother's. She passed away when I was 16. It's all I have left. I didn't mention how we'd lost everything after the war, how Grandma Eleanor always said our family used to be important, but I'd figured that was just a story to help her sleep at night. Then David tells me, straight up, "This ring isn't just a ring, Jasmine. It's part of a collection, Emerald Dreams, from 1925. There's only 15 of them in the world, and this is number 7. I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost. "How much is it worth?" I ask, still whispering. He leans in and says, "About $75,000. I almost laugh like, is this some kind of prank? I came in for $20. Suddenly, the whole world tilted sideways. David sat down across from me and told me a story about his own family, about how his dad started this store 40 years ago, and how lately the business was struggling. He said he was thinking about shutting it down, but seeing Marcouche remembered why his dad loved this job in the first place. He looked me in the eyes and said, "I want to offer you a partnership. You have something this place has lost, heart. I'll buy the ring for full value, but I want you to help me run this store. Teach me how to see people, not just price tags." Now, I'd never run anything but a cash register, but the way he said it, like he actually believed I could do this, it made me want to believe too. That night, for the first time in forever, I put Marcus to bed with a full belly. David found me a small apartment on the Upper West Side, and when I came in for my first day, he made a little corner with chairs and toys for mothers and their kids. He said, "Every piece of jewelry has a story. Our job is to help people find the right one for theirs." The first customer was an older lady buying a gift for her granddaughter. I asked what the girl was like. She said smart, determined, but also romantic. I picked out a simple necklace, sturdy chain with a flower pendant. She bought on the spot. By the end of the week, David told me I'd sold more than he usually did in a month. People trusted me. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I just listened, thought about what I'd want someone to say to me. The store changed little by little, and so did I. A month later, we changed the name to Sterling and Williams Jewelers. We were partners now, and for the first time, I felt like I belonged somewhere. That's when life decided to throw a curveball. One morning, an elderly gentleman walks in, impeccably dressed, cane, white hair, the works. He introduces himself as William Ashford and asks if we'd recently acquired a ring from the Ashford collection. My heart skipped. David confirmed, and the old man's eyes welled up. That emerald was part of a set given to my sister Eleanor in 1929. We lost her during the Depression. She changed her name, disappeared. My hand shook. Eleanor Ashford? I asked. That was my grandmother's maiden name. There was this stunned silence, mister. Ashford looked at me like he was seeing a ghost. You're Eleanor's granddaughter, he whispered. In that moment, my whole life flipped upside down. Mister. Ashford told me the Ashford family estate, the land in the Hamptons, even a stake in Ashford Industries, was all rightfully mine. I could have had mansions, money, status, the whole fairy tale. I looked at David, at the jewelry store we'd built together, at Marcus sleeping in the office crib, and realized I didn't want to trade what I had for a past I'd never known. So I said, I'll accept my inheritance, but only if we use it to help people like mesingle mothers who need a second chance. And I want David to be my partner in all of it. So we started the Eleanor Ashford Foundation. Over the next 5 years, we grew it into one of the biggest organizations helping single mothers in the country jobs, housing, support, the whole 9 yards. The store thrived, too, with 3 locations across Manhattan, all with that same little corner for kids, all running on the idea that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. A few years later, as I stood at the anniversary gala for the foundation, looking out at hundreds of families we'd helped, I realized just how far I'd come from that desperate day in the jewelry store. Marcus, now 6, was running through the garden with his little brother. Mr. Ashford, who'd become the grandpa I never had, lived with us and helped run the foundation. David and I got married, built a home, a family, and a mission. One afternoon, organizing the foundation's office, I found an old photo holding Marcus, wearing that same worn-out sweatshirt, tears in my eyes, the day I tried to sell Grandma's ring. I showed it to David, and we just sat there remembering. That day, I told him I thought I was giving up everything I had left. Turns out, I was about to get more than I ever dreamed. Now, if you're listening to this and you're in one of those dark moments, yeah, I get it. Life can flip on you in a second. But maybe, just maybe, what feels like your lowest point is actually the start of something extraordinary. Have you ever discovered something hidden in your own family? Or had a stranger change your life when you needed it most? Share your stories below. Let's talk about what it really means to turn hardship into hope. Like, comment, and subscribe if you believe, like I do, that sometimes the best treasures in life aren't gold or emerald theory second chances, new beginnings, and the courage to keep going, no matter how tough it gets.